Board of Education is now commencing. And then we do have Spanish interpretation available via Zoom. Se proporcionará interpretación al español para la reunión de la Junta Directiva. También se ofrece interpretación simultánea en directo para quienes lo ven a través de Internet. And we will now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay. Of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, now we'll have our roll call.
Okay, Mrs. Alvarez Flores.
Here.
Dr. Armistead.
Present.
Mrs. Clardy.
Here.
Ms. Ehrman.
Here.
Mrs. Frost.
Here.
Mrs. Reed.
Here.
Mr. Walker. Okay, thank you.
And now we will go ahead and start with our Joe Howell legacy. And I'll go up to the podium for this. So, good afternoon, members of the board, Superintendent Salcido, staff, family, friends, and honored guests. Thank you for joining us today as we celebrate the recipient of our 2026 Joe Howell Legacy Scholarship. So just to give a little background, this scholarship was established in 2024 to honor our friend and former board colleague, Joe Howell, who served the Santa Barbara County Board of Education with distinction for 25 years and is joining us here today. And might be a man of the year a couple of years back, but no, no one's counting. Throughout his service, Joel has been a true champion of students that we serve through our juvenile court and community schools. And one of the traditions that Joe began was writing personal letters to every graduate of our program. And when Joe retired, myself and the board members have carried that tradition forward. And every time we write a letter or we're able to honor a student like we are today, I'm reminded of this, that sincere words and encouragement can make a lasting difference in anyone's life, and especially a young person's life. And this scholarship carries that same spirit forward by recognizing students whose determination, resilience, and commitment to building a brighter future deserves to be celebrated. So today, we are proud to recognize our second Joe Howell Legacy Scholarship recipient, Juan Tejo Salinas, formerly a student of Dos Puertas School and a recent graduate of Santa Maria High School. Woo-hoo. That deserves a special shout out. Juan, we are delighted to celebrate this milestone with you and your family. And please know that you not only have the support of your family and those gathered here today, but you also have the encouragement of the entire board as you take the next steps toward your future. And now it is my pleasure to invite Superintendent Salcido to the podium. Good morning.
So wonderful to see you all and to be here on this very special morning, Juan. I want to thank the County Board of Education for always and continuously creating space to honor and recognize individuals in our community, very special individuals in our community, and illuminating their bright future. So thank you to the County Board. We are truly also pleased to recognize a student whose story, your story, reminds us of exactly why this scholarship exists. We all know that success does not follow one script. We know the Joe Howell Legacy Scholarship honors individuals who have faced challenges, found your footing, and are moving forward with determination, character, and with purpose. Juan, as I read through your application and get a chance to know you a little better, what stood out for me most was your sense of respect and responsibility. You shared about your deep respect for your parents' hard work, your mother, Aurelia, who's here today, who works so hard in our local fields. You talked about your father, Marcos. You talked about your sister, Lucia, and Adan, your brother. And you talked about now wanting to be there for them. We were so thrilled to hear that once you departed from Dos Puertas, yes. As President Ehrman said, you then attended Santa Maria High School as a Saint and graduated this past spring, and turned your community service into a full-time job at the Santa Maria Fairgrounds, where you work today. Juan, this scholarship recognizes what you have accomplished, but also an investment in your future. I'd like to thank the many, many people in our community who contributed personal funds specifically for today's scholarship. And I'd like to thank the members of the Scholarship Selection Committee, Associate Superintendent Bridget Boblitz, who's here today, Director of Juvenile Court and Community Schools, Renee Wheeler, and the person whose legacy continues to inspire this scholarship, Joe Howell. And I'd like to now introduce and welcome to the podium Michael Fuentes. Mr. Fuentes is a teaching assistant who got to know Juan while he attended Dos Puertas School. Michael, Mr. Fuentes, will you please join me at the podium?
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I don't even know where to begin. Doing the work that we do, especially with the students in juvenile hall, can be a challenge sometimes. But when we get a student that we know shouldn't be there, and we see the expression on his face as to why am I here, right? Then it makes it all worthwhile when we're able to reach them and be able to talk to them about making changes in their lives and continuing their education. And that's what I saw in Juan. Juan came to us, and I was fortunate to be able to reach him when we sat down and I interviewed him and I got to know him a little bit better. And that's the best part of my job, is being able to get to know the students, a little bit about them, a little bit about their family and what their goals are, right? I know that Juan struggled throughout his life going to school, not knowing if he felt welcomed. But I believe that when we sat down and we spoke, he had a better understanding of where we were coming from. Not only myself, but the staff at the juvenile hall. So it was truly a privilege to get to know Juan and to watch him grow over the past several months. One of the things I admire most is that he never looked for an easy path. When challenges come his way, he meets them with determination. He stays focused and he keeps moving forward. You can see the pride that he takes in his education and the responsibility he feels for building a better future. What also stands out about Juan is the way he treats the people around him. He leads by example, not by seeking attention, but by showing respect to his classmates, to his teachers, and to himself. He stays engaged and contributing to a positive learning environment. He carries himself with a level of maturity that's uncommon for someone his age. And he demonstrates kindness, accountability, and integrity in everything that he does. Juan, this scholarship recognizes the person that you become as much as the goals you are working towards. I'm incredibly proud of you and excited to see what comes next. Congratulations on this well-deserved honor. The last thing that I would like to say about Juan, right, is that I know that he's going to accomplish a lot of good things in his life. And as long as he's determined to continue with his education and help support his family, I know that he's going to become the man that his family wants him to become. Thank you.
Just taking a pause because we know so much how important this relationship is between student and teacher. And it makes my heart just feel really full. Yeah, felt very full. So thank you, Mr. Fuentes. At this point, I'd like to welcome to the podium the namesake of this scholarship, our friend and colleague, Joe Howell.
First, Mr. Fuentes, you're a tough act to follow. So congratulations, Juan. Just listening to Superintendent Salcido, I realized in driving here today, I drove by Santa Maria High, where you just graduated, and also by your employer, the fairgrounds. So feel like I know you better already. So having a scholarship like this one named after me is one of the greatest honors I've ever gotten. It means so much to everyone here to see this scholarship recognize students like you, Juan. When the scholarship was created, our collective hope was that it would encourage young people who've shown resilience, who've accepted responsibility, and importantly, are committed to a better future. From everything we've learned about you, from application, from letters of support by Mr. Fuentes, it's clear you embody all of these qualities. You also should know that the scholarship is awarded in a very competitive process. There are multiple applicants, and I'm proud to tell you that you were the unanimous choice of the selection committee. So by definition, you are a winner. We were really touched in reading the materials about the way you spoke about your family, and you clearly understand the value of hard work because you get to see it every day in your own home. You've also taken responsibility in helping your parents care for your younger brother and sister, and I know you do that for all the right reasons, but it's important that you recognize, and I think you will later in life, that those qualities are going to serve you for the rest of your life. Congratulations on earning your diploma, finding meaningful work, setting your sights on a career in the trades. Everyone in this room and these board members hope this scholarship is a constant reminder to you that our entire community, your entire community, believes in you and is cheering you on every step of the way. Congratulations.
I I resonate with everything that is being said here, and we're just so honored to be able to celebrate you, Juan. So, on behalf of, I have a little plaque here for you. On behalf of Santa Barbara County Board of Education, it is my honor to present the Joe Howell Legacy Award to Juan Tejo Salinas. Juan, please come forward. We are pleased to present the certificate to you along with the scholarship check. And here we go. Yeah. There you go.
Thank you.
And some flowers. So, yeah. And so if you'd like to say a few words. That's right there for you. I took your words. Sorry.
Oh, well, good morning, everyone. First, I would like to thank Joe Howell, the scholarship committee, and everyone who has made this scholarship possible. I am truly honored and grateful to be receiving this Joe Howell Legacy Scholarship. This scholarship means a lot to me because it represents something that I truly believe in, second chances. Knowing that it was created to support students who have faced challenges and are working towards a better future makes this award even more meaningful. My name is Juan Teo, and if someone told me a year ago that I would be standing here accepting this scholarship, I probably wouldn't have believed them. Was a time where I wasn't making the best decisions. I was struggling in school, skipped classes, and because of my choices, I spent about a month in juvenile hall. During that time, I wasn't sure if I would even graduate. While I was in there, my counselor encouraged me to apply for the scholarship. After I returned to school, Mr. Fuentes uh, continued to support me and believe in me enough to write a letter of recommendation. Having people who believed in me helped me believe in myself again. When I returned to school, I worked hard to catch up. I graduated, completed my community service early, and through that experience, I was even given a job opportunity. Along the way, I learned the importance of responsibility, respect, and making the most of a second chance. This scholarship means more to me than the $500. To me, it represents hope. It reminds me that people believe in students like me, and that motivates me to keep moving forward. After high school, my goal is to become a plumber. I know it's hard work, but I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty. My goal is to build a career that allows me to help my parents with their bills, make life a little less stressful for them, and make them proud. I especially want to thank my parents, especially my mom. There was a time when I caused her a lot of worry. Today, seeing her proud of the person I'm becoming means more to me than I can put into words. That is something that I will always carry with me. If there's one thing I hope people remember from my story is that everyone deserves a second chance. Your past does not decide your future. What matters most is what you choose to do next. Thank you everyone again who believed in me, gave me this opportunity, and I promise to make the most of it.
Mom, those flowers are well deserved, well earned. Juan, wonderful remarks. Yeah, really, really great. And he talked about the belief in second chances. And Juan and your teacher talked about knowing that you are going to accomplish what you have your heart set on. It's going to happen for you. And all of us are here to witness this and to tell you that we believe in you too. I want to thank you all for being here today, for the opportunity and space from the board to celebrate and honor the Joe Howell Legacy Scholarship. Every single person here has had a hand truly in this award and recognition, and a huge congratulations to you. I know that our president, Erman, is going to take a brief recess here in a moment so we can take some photos together and celebrate before we transition to the rest of the agenda. But how about together, one more round of applause? All right.
All right, now we'll take a brief recess. Okay. Back in session. Continuing on to any changes in the agenda, and there's no changes to the agenda. And now time for board comments. Does anyone have any comments they'd like to share? No, other than the amazing heartwarming feeling that we have right now that we just want to hang on to?
I wanted to just uplift Gateway education, well,
Yes.
absolutely the accident that happened. That was just so heartbreaking. And I had just had a meeting with Connie and Audrey to talk about what I also want to uplift is their Black Youth Summit, which is August 15th. And I'm really excited. I'm, as an individual, definitely plan to support them. I really hope that the community comes together and helps with this event and make sure it happens. One of the things that they really need are students to attend, and they're not able to get into all of the schools to share about this event. And so if there's any opportunity to spread the word and make sure students know that they're welcomed, and it's not just for the students, it's for their families, some school districts are very forthcoming and willing to send out the flyer, and Santa Barbara schools not so much. And so that's a little frustrating. So I just wanted to uplift that. And so Black families, especially, really push it out. I can share the flyer so that we can send it out to us, and maybe you can help push it out. They're going to be bringing people from North County. They have buses. So it's not just South County. It's really getting the whole county and getting all of the students and really helping create community, especially for Black families. It's that it's not, we're so spread out. And so it's just such a wonderful opportunity to bring Black families together. So I'd appreciate your help with that.
Thank you for bringing that up. I've participated in the conference for this is the fourth one, I believe. So, I think there's about 1% of the Black population approximately within the county. So sometimes it can feel like, we're only one in the class or two. And so being able to have community and to learn maybe some things about our culture that aren't, in the classrooms as much, and have that support is so important. So thank you for uplifting that, and look forward to, and everyone is invited. So hoping to see as many people as can support and be there. So,
Yeah, they have a really nice, because it's focused on the arts, and they have a nice showcase at the end of the day.
It's really fun.
So, again, I'll make sure the flyer gets to everybody.
Yeah. Awesome. And anyone else? All right, so now we'll move on to public comments. Are there any public comments? Okay. Hearing none, we will move on to the consent agenda. So at this time, the board will consider all items below together and act upon them in a single vote. We have the meeting minutes from June 11th and June 18th. Do I have a motion to approve all of the consent items?
So moved.
I second.
Okay. Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? All right, so passes unanimously. And now we will move on to a closed session as we hear the interdistrict attendance appeal hearing. So we are now back in session. And I will announce the decision of the board on all of the interdistrict attendance transfer appeals for number T 27-01. The interdistrict transfer denial was upheld. For T 27-02, the interdistrict transfer appeal denial was upheld. And for number T 27-03, the interdistrict transfer denial was also upheld. Regretfully and painfully. So we will move on to our informal item of our responses to the grand jury report. So per our discussion on June 18th, in the board meeting, the board's responses to the grand jury reports are presented as an information item. And at this time, we are open to any feedback on the responses to be shared on
I
this
would
agenda
like to
item.
respond by saying thank you for the great work that you did. It is very well put together, and I especially support it when you say will not be implemented and you have an explanation as to why, that hopefully will enlighten. Part of what you've done in your responses is provide education and training for the grand jury. Unfortunately, they change every 2 years, isn't it? Something like that, every year. Oh my gosh. Every year? But, you know, I, at least we've made an attempt to enlighten them as to what it is they're commenting on. So accolades to you both, to you all, because I'm sure staff had some
Staff
involvement
was
in this.
a heavy hand in this response. So thank you to staff and thank you for those comments, Board Member Frost. And
I also appreciate the words in here. There's been quite the heat in some of the social media groups about this because they feel people are still very upset at schools in general. And so I thought that this is so clearly written. There cannot possibly be a misinterpretation, and hopefully people will reach out if they feel. But I just felt it was written so great. You addressed all the points. I couldn't be more proud of the work that you guys put forward on this. So I'm happy.
Board Member Walker.
Yeah. So, listen, I want to sort of echo what's been said. I see the spirit of the responses. I think the tone is perfect. I do think, and I'm looking specifically at finding. This is under finding one, probably by way as an example. I would probably encourage some wordsmith on some of those. There are a couple things. One, I find it peculiar that the grand jury is raising this question, and where does it come from and why? At least from what I see, I haven't seen any reason why there should be any concern about the county doing its due diligence and doing its work. Nonetheless, it certainly is their prerogative to make these requests, and we're responding to them. So if you go to page 4,
Which, hold on just a second. It's
page
Page
4,
four.
I think finding
Recommendation 1B.
1A.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
1B is.
1B.
Mm-hmm.
And go 1 to the third paragraph down where it says the board confirms. I think I understand the intent of the language, but that's not really our purpose. We don't confirm that there are cameras in and throughout all juvenile court and community school facilities, including in classrooms, that whole thing. I mean, if anything, we may become aware of safety concerns, things that could be done better. I think if we did, we would have a conversation with the superintendent, ask her to look into it and make sure that that's corrected. She and her staff confirm that the cameras and the proper cameras and the installation and all that kind of stuff. So what I don't want to do is give the grand jury or the public the perception that we're doing stuff that's not really our purview. I also think somewhere down the road, depending on where this came from, this could be a bit of a slippery slope. So if you start confirming stuff that's not really under our purview, why didn't you check some other stuff that's not our purview? Um, and I don't think it necessarily needs a lot. I mean, I think staff could probably work with Nadra and just do a bit of wordsmithing to keep us in our lane, if you will. And I also think to some extent, I think Judy's point, I think it's an opportunity for us to communicate our confidence in the superintendent and her staff. That if we ask Susan to go check something or bring us back information, that we don't have any questions about whether or not that's being done. I just don't want to. So if I were to use myself as an example, I was not a part of actually going out to review whether or not cameras were in place. So again, I don't want it to sound like a downer because I think the tone, the intent, and so forth and so on is spot on. I just think the language needs some words though.
Thank you for that insight. And we did have a conversation, full disclosure. Board member Walker let me know, like, these are some of the concerns, and I thank you for that, because we want to make sure that if the information is received the way we want it to be received. And so from my perspective, going to the juvenile court schools, we've gone a few times, or I've gone a few times now, and we've seen the cameras. So I can confirm. And I didn't go looking for that, but I saw that they were there, and I can confirm if someone asked me. Yes, I remember the whole little booth and how dark it was and all the cameras and all the whole nine. And we do have regular reports and updates on safety, on the safety liaison and the work that Dennis is doing. So when going through this with Susan and staff, I felt that we could stand behind this information because we've received it in some context through our presentations and the meeting. That said, there is that question of our purview, and is that purview in terms of what our responsibilities and what we are overseeing, is that reflected accurately. So that I think is what your question is. So I just wanted to put that, that interpretation or that spin on it, just to invite further discussion to see, based on that, do we want to look at this again with another set of eyes, or do we still feel that, yes, this indeed is within our purview and we feel comfortable with the verbatim or the verbiage as it is?
Well, I certainly think it's within our purview in a court and community school, also AKA called a detention area, that there would be cameras.
Yeah.
And I know our reluctance to publicly say this is a detention facility. I don't want to be that blunt about it with the grand jury, but for county's response, I think it's very important they understand that our court and juvenile schools are under a probation or you know what I mean?
Yeah,
They're not, it's not public education, it's detention. And I think it's important that the grand jury get that differentiation in the role of county schools.
I don't read it as we individually have confirmed cameras.
Right.
So I'm hearing you in terms of making sure we're careful of our purview. I would go to the staff and want them to confirm that with us before we made a statement. But to me, it says the board confirms, like we have asked the right people. It doesn't mean that I have to have eyes on it. And I think that's what you were saying. And so what I'm saying is that I don't read it as me, Katya.
Right.
Did we else read it?
Well, we as a board asked Nadra and Susan to complete this.
Right.
Mhm.
And so
So that's complete. My question is, this assignment about, is it confirmed that the cameras are there? Did we as a board do that? Did we as a board?
we as a board asked these two
Right.
to look into and respond.
Hmm.
And so that proxy, in my mind, means that this was confirmed.
Well, and I get back to the fact that for the juvenile, the juvenile court school is a facility that we don't manage. That's not up to us to even manage. We don't have a choice of whether there are cameras there or not. It's the choice of the court system to do that. So my point again is a little bit of education for the grand jury that they understand that. And all we're saying is that we know there are cameras there, and there are, and there should be. I mean, in my opinion, but that's.
And I think that's a good point, just real quick, that the schools that we have jurisdiction over are very different than other districts. And so our responses and our considerations are going to be very different. And that was part of the response, is that explanation that you're asking me these questions almost as if we have the normal conditions of a district,
choice. Yeah.
which we do not. So,
but it's directly asking. So that there's one thing to educate them and to point that out. And I think that's helpful. And there's another thing is in terms of, I just want to make sure that we're being the word nothing. That's what I'm hearing you. So it's not different things, but it's slightly two different things. Right. And so I'm responding to, this is the board did. I mean, we made the agreement the last meeting that you were going to come back. And so I have full confidence that this wouldn't come back and they didn't look like they don't feel confident in the response. So that's what I'm trying to say.
Let me just say, I don't see it that way. Yeah, I mean, how I'm reading this is very different. But I will also tell you, this is not, it's not a frame. It's not a hill I'm trying to die on. I mean, you know what I mean? If the majority of the board wants to move forward with it, I'm fine with it. But I do think it's very, you know, again, I'd love to hear from Susan just in terms of how you're interpreting some or all of this. I don't want to take claim for something that's not my responsibility.
Thank you so much for all of the comments and input, feedback, and perspectives. It's really, it's valuable and appreciated very much. The way in which when Nadra and I met about these drafts, we talked about different approaches we could take. And one of the framings mindset that we took that I had shared actually with the full board last time was that we wanted to, one, really have the county board responses reflect not the entire county's schools, but the schools in which you do have some jurisdiction. So that was one. Secondly, we wanted to provide the perspective that it was in cooperation, in partnership with the county superintendent that these things are happening. So we wanted to ensure that. The third one was to provide an education for anyone who would read any one of the reports, even in isolation from one another. So therefore there's a lot of repeated phrases and things like that. And I hadn't shared with you the county superintendent responses, which look very, very similar to these. They're just meant to be standalone educational, informational pieces. to board member Walker's point, which what I'm hearing you say is, it's not about actually what's here in education. It's really maybe even the active verb. Did I confirm this, and to what extent am I as an active verb doing all these things? Rather, you're saying it's actually, Susan, you and your team are doing these things. And we want to make sure that the full public doesn't believe that a county board member is meant to be going in schools and inspecting. You have your roles and we have set roles, and you don't want to overstep those roles. So when you say wordsmith, I think what I'm hearing you say, it's not like go through this and rewrite. Right. I think what I see, actually that one paragraph is a really good one to pause on, because it's a very strong word to say confirms because it has different interpretations. The very next recommendation really just gives a fact, and I'll do it in summary. The next recommendation, 1C, later just says that, well, each JCCS serves this many students, and it just gives facts, So in that sense, we could scan this too, and it doesn't have to say the board confirms. We can just say there are cameras in and out in all throughout juvenile court and community schools. It's not then saying it's you who's confirming it, that you're placing it, it's just, we have them, because the recommendation is all these schools should have them. And we're just simply saying we already have them, Mm-hmm. So I think we can get it there, because I do think the words do matter, in that today we're responding it this way. 5 years from now, this report can come back for a different reason, and they can say, well, you all confirmed that, and we want to make sure that we're really factual, but that we just are looking at things in really smart lenses. So I'm happy to, with your support and Audra's support, look at it through that lens to make sure it's factual and it's not overly attributing like the active verbs where it doesn't need to be. If that works for all of you, because I think the other feedback was this reads well. You would actually be good with things with and I'm happy to give that an extra read before asking Nadra to sign on behalf of the board. I would like to not wait till August board meeting to send it in. So if you are giving the approval, then we'll work together, and once it's ready, we'll send it in. Okay. And thank you.
Yes, yes, and yes.
Okay, great. And I think, and Bridget had some comments around no, you're good. Okay. Got it. Confirming. Confirmation. Okay. Bridget? Yeah. And I did want to say that the cameras are here too at Fitzgerald, as well as in the, yeah. So I want to confirm that, it is clear. So happy, thank you, that feedback, if I'm hearing what you're saying. It's like good responses, but let's just make it really, really extra secure. Happy to do that. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Perfect. All right. Thank you. So now we're going to move on to future agenda items. And I wanted to bring up our favorite subject, inter-district transfers that we just completed. Because yes, I feel like we're starting to really, as we do more, understand our purview. Oh, this is the weird word of the day. And what we can influence and what we can advocate for within the process. Like, case in point, we advocated for a different timeline. They responded. We felt like that really helped the process. And so Vice President Vita and I were talking about having, and you can speak more to this, please, but having a representative, if possible, or if it is possible, of the school or district that the students are a part of, to be here as almost like a warm handoff, as to speak to some of those concerns that maybe the students have. I know that would require a lot more coordination on staff part, and I don't know if other districts would be open to doing that. It's more of an invitation to see, but just this is a really painful process. I think I can speak on behalf of all of us, and anything that we can do to support the students and their families during that, because we can't change it. We can't change our role. It's very, hard to reverse the transfer. So it's like, what can we do outside of that to influence a more favorable experience and outcome? So I'll just
And I think I overheard part of that. I think that's a great idea. I mean, I've had kids go through different schools or now going into the military. And even for my son, when he joined the Navy, having the phone number to the Navy person that he was signed up with, so he could ask questions or something. I'm not saying it has to be that much, but I think there is something where they see that parent, that student, and then the school starts, they know that person might need a little extra hand holding, and that might close the confidence gap with the parent of where they're at.
We have a actual community focus group that Dr. Castillo is in charge of, and the point of that is to make sure community awareness and community connection is there. And it may even be a particular person that runs point on this and make sure after a meeting like this that they are contacted with clarification as to what needs to happen now. So they're not waiting when the day of the school beginning, that first day is happening. Because a lot of times everybody's not interacting with their heads cut off anyway, because it's usually massive people. So that layer can happen because they do need to come and acclimate themselves with that surrounding them and to have a person that they know or can connect with, usually school secretary and or school liaison, but there is a way to do that. And if that's going to continue to happen, I think it's going to happen for another couple of years until even the ones that think that cleaning might be the one thing that will get them an exception, it doesn't work. And I know the rumors are out there. I know people talk to each other. I know they say, hey, it's going to be done. They still think there might be an exception.
Are you and I discussing having someone from the home district?
Whichever
or whatever other district. I mean, so far it's been San Benito. But in Santa Barbara, it's been San Ynez or Goleta or Santa
I
Barbara.
think it's a great idea.
But somebody needs to have a connection to those future students, in my opinion. I agree wholeheartedly, and I support that. I think one of our shining moments this morning was when Vita gave her daughter's phone number to the couple who is their son is going to Ariana. Yeah. So I mean, that warm handoff is we're not precluded from doing that. And it certainly is humane. I think it could be as easy as could we get confirmation from the appropriate people at the school site that's in their home district that we can give them that information. I mean, it was just Vita giving them that information so they could leave with something that gave them what to do next.
I love that you brought this topic up. Clearly, it's a popular subject. I know that when the board updated your policy around IDTs not too long ago, there was this baton ensuring you were passing the baton, and a warm handoff was included in that. But let's bring it back up, as you said, in a future board meeting, because perhaps we want to further define what does that look like? And what would happen if we said we want a district member to be there? What happens if they aren't there? Do you want to proceed anyway? Do you want it to be part of the actual procedure, or we can talk about what that looks like further? But you did modify it to then even, to ensure that there was a warm handoff. Yes. At least. Oh, sure. Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, there may be things unofficially going on
that we don't know
that we're not aware of. So
yes, so while
educate us.
While it's not completely written in our board policy that there is this warm handoff, because I do send a letter letting the district of residence know that the hearing is happening, the name of the student, family, and what school they would possibly attend.
Who
If
gets the letter?
so in the case of Santa Maria Bonita, it's Matt Cameron, who's in charge of enrollment. I've spoken to Matt at length also on the phone about the families and the appeals and the process
So
and
he's the
everything.
district
He's
administrator.
the district. So so that's what I've done so far.
That's great.
Also with the families, they all know to expect a phone call from me. So I check in with them depending on the family, because one of them, I'll just speak frankly, the first family, I won't go into the names, but the first family, very emotional. Mom will be ready to talk to me next week. The other two families were like, I'd like to hear from you tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I have to judge sort of where they're at and where they're at emotionally, because not all of them are going to go and want to be at their district of residence. I'll just be also.
Right.
Yeah.
So I have to manage emotionally their emotions and also read to what they need. Because that's really, I think my role at this point is continuing my relationship with them, because I already established one. I spent a lot of time talking with them. It doesn't get sort of out there in the packet, it lands. And so I will then just connect with them when it makes sense for them, and prepared to not only connect them to Matt Cameron, but also to staff at the school sites and staff, like, for example, special education or, whatever it may be. So I just want you to know that I'm committed to that warm handoff as well and continuing to grow that. But I'm also interested in hearing and discussing more about other ways that we can really support the family and it come at like a community oriented approach and things like that. So I just wanted to share with you what I'm already doing. And so, yeah.
Yeah, and thank you. Oh, go ahead.
Has it worked? I mean, have we dropped the ball on the other end is what I'm afraid will happen. I almost like want to guarantee that the other district is going to come forward and connect. I may sound a little over the edge, but is there some one particular person that I can call and say, hey, do you need me to welcome them, or
Yeah, so the answer to the first question was, has it worked? I can say last year, my efforts were nothing compared to what I'm doing this year. I really heard from you all that, and I don't know about time practice. So last year, I will speak to one situation though, where there was a young lady, and you might recall it, but I reached out to, I happened to also be close friends with the principal. So I reached out to her and I said, I need you to meet this camp. She's like, absolutely. And I know that happened. So there's that situation, but other ones it's blurry for me. That's why I'm also, for me, it doesn't sit well. So now I'm like, God's blessing, we're doing this moving forward. I will work with Matt Cameron in this case for Santa Maria Bonita to see if, I know they have a lot of family community liaisons and connectors, and to see if there's someone else that he's notified, but I work with someone else as we move into this next step. And I can stay, maybe Susan and I can talk a little bit how to stay connected with the appropriate board member for that area, because it's not just, may not just be Santa Maria Bonita. So maybe that as a point of discussion of if you're interested in that individual, and that could be part of the future discussions of how to really close that loop.
And that would close that loop. Now, what does Matt do?
He's in charge
in terms of connecting with the family, though. Is he just?
I'm not sure. That's a good question.
Yeah.
And I guess that's my concern.
Yeah.
Do you get a letter? Do you get a phone call? Do I get the letter like 2 days before I'm supposed to report to the site?
Yeah.
I worry about that, because that's why I say, if you want to go tomorrow, we'll go tomorrow. She's still cleaning out her damn office over there.
Yeah, that's a good question. And I can, I've taken my notes in my highlighter because I don't have another pen, but I will, I promise I can beat it. I will definitely get more clarity from Matt, because it's new for Matt too.
I understand. That's why
so working with, I can tell you in my conversations with them, it has already expanded the understanding of the inter-district transfer process in general and the role of the county board. So that even though we have this policy, it's on our website, there is still some, I can tell, gaps in education. So that it's allowing for that as to, and that relationship building between me and the districts too. And I think, again, we're all in education because we love children and we love families. And so it's just, everybody I work with, they're wonderful and they want that too. And then they have hard decisions, right? So I hear you, and I will, and maybe when I know them, when the next, I'll make sure to be at that board meeting. If it's appropriate, be here to be part of that conversation. I can add more information to that. And also here, I love sitting. I'm glad I sat here. And for the rest of this, because I can be here for that, because I do hear you, and it does shift my actions. It may not shift policy, but it definitely shifts my actions.
And I really think it's about the relationship, because we're the school board members here for the county. The school board members on the other end would call these families. I know they would. If they had an opportunity, I know Linda would call, John would, I mean, they would call the family just to assure them that we have a line of communication. And to me, that's empowerment too. Not just empowerment for me, empowerment for the parents, because now they've been heard and the validation is there and the welcome is there too.
I think for me, just my it also feels like, oh, I'm so sorry you can't go to Orchid. I'm so sorry you have to go to Santa Maria.
Yeah.
And so that doesn't sit with me. I want it, and I think your comments are so fantastic and so helpful, and recognizing just this feels hard right now and you're going to be okay. And that, so anything to help, and it's going to be okay. I don't know totally what that looks like. I'm so pleased to hear what doing in terms of supporting them. So I really appreciate that, because we are representing all our districts, and I don't want it to be like, we're like, yeah, Orchid's the very best. And that's all and
That's a very good
so
point.
that's where I would end up feeling too.
So I'll just close unless anyone has anything else to say. One, I want to thank you, Elise, because you are, we're like, yes, round of applause for Elise.
You're the big blanket.
Yeah.
I've seen all of this and us.
Yeah,
Never
I mean,
called that before. Thanks.
no big blanket. Yeah, it's yours to keep.
Warm blanket.
Yeah, big warm blanket. That's a compliment. That's a compliment. No, but it's very hard for us in the moment, but you're with them from beginning to end, and all of them, all the ones that we don't even see. And I know that you are so dedicated to making sure this is as, not only streamlined and organized, but you bring that emotional, compassionate component to it. So thank you for that. And so I think that we have a lot of, there's a lot of discussion to be had, and is there a policy that we can add about what, we don't know. So, and what that, the ins and outs of what that looks like. So that's why it's going to be a future. I'd love to bring it up for a future item. So anyways, thank you again. So, where are we at? My glasses. All right. So I think Judy second. Yes, Judy.
We had some future agenda items on the minutes from June 11th, I think. And are we carrying those forward even though we don't necessarily put them on the agenda? Thank you. That's all I wanted to know.
Thank you. That's a good point. Can we, I know we're getting a long list, but can we keep those on the agenda just so we see what our future agendas are? Okay. And without further ado, can we get an adjournment, or a motion to adjourn to our next meeting?
I think Mary
held
Beth
August
did.
15th.
I second Mary Beth's.
I third it.
Okay. Well, all in favor? Aye. All right. That's everyone. So motion adjourned. Our meeting adjourned.
Great to see Joe today.